All right, Sky Squad, we are back in the building. Listen, I'm going to go ahead and dive right into this video. As you guys know, I'm on vacation right now, but news is breaking, so we got to talk about it. Yo, Mena was just fired from Love and Hip Hop. A lot of y'all were wondering, well, what was going to happen? How was this going to work? You know, a lot of people were calling for her to be fired. Some people were, kind of on her side because Spice had brought up her kids. But guess what, y'all? The network was like, we ain't playing with this. So I was literally scrolling because I was about to edit the video that I'm putting out today, right? I'm editing the video that I'd already recorded. But I was like, no, I got to insert this in the beginning. So if the audio sounds a little bit different, that's why it sounds different in the beginning and the end of this video. So let's get into it. Love and Hip Hop posts this on their Instagram page. The Love and Hip Hop franchise has never shied away from hard conversations in our community. Working hand in hand with our partners, viewers will see the impact of Mena's remarks play out in the final 3 episodes of the season. So that lets us know we have 3 more episodes to go, right? They said effective immediately, she will not appear in the next season of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. So do you know what that means, y'all? Fired, gone. We're not tolerating that over here. And I do think it's important that we see the impact of those actions play out with the rest of the cast, because I want to know how they handle it. I want to see who handles it in what way and who does what and how. And it's interesting to me because we at least know that Bambi is still somewhat cool with Mena because she got arrested with her just last week. And, Erica was seen hopping up on tables and whatnot and looking like she was having a good time. So I don't know if she had been fired at that point, but she definitely looked like she's fired now. Do y'all think she knew she was fired at that point last week when she got arrested or nah? Let me know in the chatterization. Also, according to our friends over at the Jasmine brand, we see a screenshot from what looks to be either an Instagram story or a post that says handled, okay, from Mona Scott Young. Who is Mona Scott Young? For those of you guys who are living under a rock, well, she's one of the masterminds, one of the creatives behind the Love and Hip Hop franchise. So I think that Mona is letting us know that Carrie Hilson / Olivia Pope style, this whole matter has been handled, taken care of, and homegirl is fired. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the chatterization down below. Was this the right move? And do you think that this sends the right message? I personally feel like it's the right thing to do, and we don't have that place for that type of toxic talk on our television screens. So with that being said, let's get into the rest of the news that we got to talk about. Of course, it's involving cousin Courtney and sister Drew, sister Allison, cousin Ralph, kissing cousins, perhaps. I don't know. Allegedly. I'm just joking. Maybe sort of, kind of. I don't know. Allegedly. Who knows? Making it all up. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all think that cousin Courtney and cousin Ralph, do they feel like a little bit more than cousins to y'all? Like, it's giving something totally different, but that's neither here nor there at the moment, right? What we need to talk about is sister Allison, Drew's sister specifically, has some things to say about the Speak On It episode that was aired and then edited. We're going to get into my thoughts about that, but first let's get into what Allison had to say about this situation. Allison says, I went on Real Housewives of Atlanta to normalize the conversation on mental health. My vulnerability and willingness to share trials of overcoming PTSD, anxiety, and depression is to reduce the stigma and fear of those suffering in silence. No one has the blueprint of what a person looks like with mental health. What is normal? Was I supposed to show up in a straitjacket? Now, I'm going to interject here because in the edited version, in the version that made its rounds online, that was edited out of the final Speak On It, there was a question about, she didn't really look like she had anything going on with her. And, I was talking about this with a friend of mine because, for those of you guys who don't know, I suffer from extreme anxiety. It comes and goes. However, it is something that I've dealt with for at least this past decade, right? Sometimes it can be really debilitating. And, a lot of people would never know, right? A lot of people would never know that I'm also an introvert. So I'm not necessarily the type of person that's going to be making the rounds at a party unless I know everybody there, which is hardly ever the case, right? So what does that look like to a person who does not suffer from anxiety? A person who doesn't suffer from anxiety may not ever know that I suffer from it. So, this question of what does mental illness look like, or what does a specific mental state look like, is a very hard one to define. And to someone who doesn't really have experience with something, you may be expecting something different, right? So her question here is, what is normal? Was I supposed to show up in a straitjacket? I think that's also something to consider. Like, mental health and anxiety, or whatever people go through, doesn't always look the way that you picture it to look. So you can't always make assumptions about it. However, on the other side of that, and to be completely objective, I do think that there's also a situation here that we also need to look at, and that is Drew's credibility. And how does that credibility extend to her family, right? So when we listen to Drew and we see conflicting pieces of information or things come out of her mouth, we are now questioning whether or not Drew is the girl who cried wolf. And we all know that fairy tale, right? Well, that fable, I should say. So we have to sometimes listen to what Drew says and take it with a grain of salt, because we don't always know what to believe. So I think that there's a little bit of both of those elements wrapped up into this that we may need to also piece apart, parse, and then sort of figure out how we want to handle this whole situation. Furthermore, I do not abuse alcohol or take any medications that interact with alcohol. This is referring to Courtney's reference in that clip that indicated that, they had given her tequila before they coerced or suggested that she go in and attack, Courtney, I think at the reunion. She said the statements made by Courtney Rhodes made on Speak On It was reckless, tasteless, insensitive, and ignorant. For Kandi Burruss to engage in such dialogue was diminishing. So for me, this is where I am actually glad that they took that piece out of it, because I do feel like, sometimes further reflection and hindsight can be 20/20. And I just kind of feel like, we do need to be sensitive about, how we talk about somebody's mental health, especially when they are trying to be open about their journey, right? So then she goes on to say, mental health does not own a look nor concrete symptoms. It is my hope that Courtney reflects on her baseless, careless words and grows enough empathy to not only issue a public apology, but take the time to educate herself on the many forms of mental illness and the goal of never belittling or attacking anyone experiencing mental illness again. Okay? Now, whether or not we will ever get that apology will remain to be seen. Whether or not people really care about Courtney will remain to be seen as well. I don't have a thing against Courtney. I just feel like, the things that she is standing on are just kind of interesting to me. Specifically, when it comes to her thoughts on certain things with regards to Drew and Ralph's marriage. But I'm going to save a little bit of that for the end of this video, because we've got to talk about this clip that the Neighborhood Talk posted. And I want to say shout out to Reality Chat for capturing this, because that's where I first saw it while I was traveling. And then I need to talk about this interview with Allison and Make It Make Sense. Now, the Neighborhood Talk happened to post a clip of this, but you need to definitely check out the entire interview, okay? Because the claims that cousin Courtney and cousin Ralph are actually cousins seem to be a little iffy when it comes to Ralph's family, because it appears as though allegedly Ralph's family has never even heard of her. Okay? Sister Allison says cousin Courtney is unverifiable. What does that mean? Okay, so apparently she met cousin Courtney when Drew introduced the two of them, and she said, this is Ralph's cousin. Okay, cool. I think she said that they met at a club or something like that, or that they were out at a club, and she was telling people that she was already a housewife or already on Housewives. So yes, spill the tea to the people, okay? So then she said when they went to the place, I guess wherever they were from, or Ralph is from, to his hometown, or wherever Courtney has connected, that they grew up in similar spaces but never maybe ran into each other. Courtney says that their stories have evolved over the course of the past few months, which it does kind of seem like they have. But she says that she was asking people in Ralph's family and showing pictures of Courtney to Ralph's family, and they were saying that they don't know her. Who she connected to? Who down the line is she connected with? Nobody could seem to verify this cousin information. So I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, so cousin Courtney is out here really, I mean, they're really repping this storyline hard. Cousin Courtney then wormed her way into Drew and Ralph's life in such a way that she has now gotten this, like, I mean, she's gotten the nitty gritty on the intimate details of their relationship. So much so that she would say that she's been a better friend to him, not cousin, but friend, note, to him than in the past 6 months than Drew has been in the past, a wife in the past 8-9 years. How would you know, ma'am? How would you know everything that has occurred in their marriage in that past 8-9 years? I mean, that sounds like a lot of details for a friend. Wait, excuse me, a cousin to know. Now, again, I don't have a problem with Courtney in terms of her general approach to being on Housewives. I think she came in a little bit too strong. I felt like she could have taken some time to get to know people and then worked on the beefs or whatever. But however you choose to rock is however you choose to rock. You know, I wish her much success. I really, really do. I honestly do. I don't want people to think that I have a problem with her. I just have a problem with some of the things that she says and some of the things that she stands for. And speaking of standing, isn't it so crazy to y'all that this woman is standing so firm on things that don't seem that concrete to me? Like, it's very, very weird. It's very, very interesting. And I wonder, at some point, is anybody going to tell her that the ground that she is standing on is shaky? I mean, it almost feels like the ground that she claims that she's standing so firm on is quicksand. But I'm going to let y'all figure that out. All right. Let me know what your thoughts are in the chatterization down below, and I will catch you in the next video.